Welcome to LDS Paper Toys. I'm S. Periatri. Lindsay from Hawaii writes me and tells me that the Laie Hawaii Temple is having its 100th anniversary. So she wants me to create a 3D temple. So what I did was I created a really simple temple for primary kids. And while I was at it, I went ahead and made this temple that was a little more to scale for anyone who wants to build that. So this is a little harder, but if you want to, follow along with me and we can build this temple. Okay, so the first sheet you're going to print out is this reference sheet. These letters are going to correspond to the papers that you're going to print out. You can print them out on high quality, of course, do them full size. Don't let the printer shrink your image. So the first sheet you print out will be labeled A box, and this will be labeled A ring. Using scissors, you can cut this out. You probably want to do this part with a utility knife. You're going to end up with this shape here, and you're simply going to fold along these lines here. Okay, so when you're folding these, what I like to do is very slightly bend it. Don't make a crease yet, and then just try to keep the line in the middle of your bend until you keep bending more and more. And then when the line is really solid, then you can do that and then crease it with your thumbnail. And so then you end up with this box. And so you're really just going to put tape here, here, and maybe a little piece of tape on the top so it'll form a box here. And when making these boxes, doing this whole temple, what I like to do is just put a little piece of tape on an edge, and then put your next piece under it like that, and just nice to keep it nice and flush. And I just fold. Once it's lined up, I just fold that tape down, so you have a nice corner like that, doing that way. Okay, so your next piece is labeled A wrap. It's gonna look like this after you cut it out. And before you cut it out, you may want to go ahead and take a utility knife and cut along these edges where these dotted lines are. And once that's all cut out, you can come in here and lift up these edges, like so. You just want to push those back. And eventually you want those nice and straight up, like that. Okay, so I've now taped that up, and now you can take this piece that we made first, and you can actually slide that in, like that. Okay, the one labeled B box, that's what this one is here. Now usually I would tell you to always do your utility knife cuts first. On this one, I'd recommend doing these folds first. This is the only one, just because it's really hard to fold it later without messing it up. But do your folds first, this fold, and this fold. Then cut this. And then fold the rest. Now this is the hardest fold, is going to be this one here. And you're just going to, anytime you have a fold like this difficult, you're just going to put your fingernail right below the fold and kind of do this just to loosen that paper up. You just keep doing that until you can do a real fold. Okay, so I folded that, I taped this together. This is what you end up with. It should look something like that. And then you're going to take what you've already made and put that inside, like so. Okay, the next sheet, this is labeled C box. You're going to cut it out. It should look just like this. And you're going to fold here, here, and here. Okay, we're just going to slide that in like so. So the next part is called C wrap. This is what happens when you cut out the C wrap sheet. And you're actually going to, after you cut these two pieces out, you're going to lay them on the table and just put a piece of tape here and connect those. So now it's one piece. Then you're going to go through and actually fold these edges here. Now the only thing to remember about this one is this is actually the back right here, this length. So even though you see a line here and a line here, don't fold this. All this red area that you see, don't fold. You can do this fold, but you don't want to fold this in because this is actually the back. That doesn't need to be folded. It should be flat. Okay, so then you end up, after you do all those folds, with a shape something like this. You gotta pay attention to which way to fold these corners. You'll eventually figure that out as you try to put this on here. And this actually might be the hardest part about building this attachment here. What I've done is I've put double stick tape on this surface, this, and this one. So now that should help us as we try to put this together. So I'm just gonna kind of hold the back here. See if I can get a nice stick there. Okay, so now we're looking at the back side here. And I'm just going to put a piece of tape here. Notice I'm taping at the very bottom because we're not going to be able to see that. I mean, the tape is transparent, but it's just good to put it at the bottom so it can be covered up by another piece. Okay, so at this point you have the main part of the temple done. Notice how these are sticking out like this, and don't let that worry you because we're going to super glue that or attach that in some way, whatever way you want to do it. But I wouldn't do it yet. You'll have a better result if you do this at the end after we get the other pieces in, because then everything will be able to flow with each other and then you can make your final adjustments. Okay, so this next piece is labeled D box, and so you're just going to fold down these edges so this will all stand up. And it should fit nice and snug. If it doesn't go the first time, that's good. That means it's going to fit nice and tight. So just work with your pieces. And this is why we didn't super glue it earlier, so we can have a little more wiggle room. D-wrap. And it's going to be 3 pieces. And when you tape them all together, so you just put the tape on the back there, it's going to look like this. Okay, so after you fold that, it's going to look something like this. Fold these edges. And what I went ahead and did is put some double stick tape here on the surfaces in the front. So here and here, and along some of these edges. So I'm just going to wrap that around. And so see it says tape me, so I actually taped this piece to there to help secure this area. And again, you're going to have some loose spots that are going to be fixed later when we do the super gluing part. So here's the E-box, what it looks like when you're done, and we're going to take the E-wrap and we're going to cut that out, which is here. We're going to tape those pieces together and we're going to do these folds, and then we're going to wrap it around the box part. Okay, so this piece then, after you get the wrap around, goes right there. So here's the F box and the F wrap around. We're just going to fold these lines, make it into a box, and then wrap this around it. I'm putting it right here, sliding it in, and then we just put that into place. Okay, and then we've got the G box and G wrap. We'll do the same thing. Okay, so we're looking at the front of the temple again. And so we've got this new box that we just made, where you see this red letters. Just put that just like that. Here's the H box, and then we're going to have the I. So let's do the HI box and HI wrap and put those together. Okay, so this piece goes here. This piece, make sure the lines are on the outside so you can see them. Goes here. Okay, so this is going to be the front piece. Notice I cut out all the inside here. You're just going to fold back this piece. And you're going to make this top part into its own little box. So this, you're going to fold along this line and along this line. Fold these all back. You see I've folded this back? It's like it forms kind of a box here. And this piece actually slides under. You'd want to super glue that into place. And the back door, same thing. You got a little box shape, and then you take the back door piece, put it right into there, make it flush. You want to tape that, and then it ends up looking something like that. You're going to attach it to this K piece. Okay, but before you put on these these last pieces, you're going to want to do the super gluing part, so everything at least won't be moving around. So for that, get everything in a nice tight area. And I would start with the middle, super glue that, just put a little drop there. You do want to be careful because the super glue might leave a mark, so be careful how you apply that. If you want, you could always use hot glue, but you'll see as you start gluing this, it'll start getting more and more structure, and then just keep going outward gluing it. Make sure you push these in when you do this, and it'll actually turn out quite nice. When you start building this, you may want to actually get a piece of foam board and build on the foam board, and then just trim away the pieces of the foam board that you don't need, or you could always move it over at the end. But for long-term storage, you probably want it on some kind of piece of foam board or cardboard.